get this show on the road. Good afternoon, and welcome in to another Titan Talk. It's Friday. It's been a crazy week in a weird way, but it's January 16th, and clumzy's going to be joining us today because obviously Kilgoon's out, should be back next week.
We got a double clumsy special this week.
You do, yeah. We got you on Monday for the free show, and then you got upset because I said you broke things on the Wednesday, which you did.
I did not.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We forgive, you know.
We forgive,
and hopefully,
we forget.
Speaking of forgiving, hopefully you all are forgiving us for some of the issues we've been running into this week. First thing to say, obviously, Wednesday we did some hot fixes, and then yesterday we also had some disabled gods that were in the game. Basically, all looking at the movement speed things that we'd put into the game that were definitely still causing some issues for players. This morning, a little bit, there was a plan this morning, just as a heads up to make sure this maintenance went through. However, kind of pulled the trigger a little bit earlier than planned. But now maintenance has happened and everyone should be available in-game for you all to play again, and we're not seeing any reports at the moment.
We did it.
But keep sending them in. Basically, back in the oven, cooking longer. God should be back. That's kind of where we're at now.
Yeah.
One other thing to mention on that front, Discordia was due to release her aspect today.
That's right.
That has been delayed till Monday, though, just to make sure that everything's good with what we've done so far. And if we want to have more drama, we can do that on Monday when the aspect comes out.
Imagine your aspect comes out and it's just like broken and just like, you know what? No, we'll deal with that next week.
We can't be doing that too. Yeah, so it's
I'm
just
sure it's fine.
A little bit of a safety net.
Went okay.
Turns
out time zones are annoying, says Rocky. I believe it.
Yeah, blame it. I'm not going to blame anyone. Blame me. It's okay, child. I'll deal with it. It's all my doing. But we should be good to go for the time being. And now we're here with Titan Talks.
Yeah.
How's your week been? What have you been up to?
It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
You know, the first patch of the year went off a little rocky, as we just talked about. But Discordia seems pretty solid. You know, we're seeing a lot of people checking her out. I've been playing this weekend. We're seeing so many people trying out different things. I mean, you were on there playing out Discordian support, which is really cool. I've seen some Discordia jungle with Boombas. There's some conversation to be had there, maybe. But overall, I think her performance has been pretty solid. Her early to midish game, you know, isn't the strongest in the world, but her mid to late, especially when you get those cooldowns ramping, like it feels really, really strong. It feels really, really good.
You can feel it too. So, just make sure you give us feedback over the weekend. Feel free to send in any bugs if you come across anything weird in your games that have kind of been happening through the week, but we don't expect that to really carry into the weekend now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we should be in a good spot. I do have other things to mention.
Do we?
I do. I mean, I had a lot of things that I was going to do with the community, but obviously we've had all these issues. So here we are. First and foremost, ambassador applications. People have been requesting, hey, how do I apply to be an ambassador and help out the devs behind the scenes a little bit? Give you a bit of an insight into like what's going on behind the scenes and be able to communicate on behalf of the community on that. Well, you all can do that.
It's finally happening.
It's finally happening. First of all, there will be an opportunity in game for you to be able to see this and apply, but at the moment we're having issues because of the maintenance we did. However, you can head over to smiteprime.com right now and find the resources page here for the ambassador application form.
You can do it.
Additionally, should also be a Twitch chat command that will be used by one of the mods shortly, just so people can apply there. But you can apply to be an ambassador. These will be reviewed and applications will close on February 1st. Additionally, not only that, there's also one other one. The Stream Team application. So obviously Stream Team is the start of the year and we normally do a refresh and bring on some new bodies to the Stream Team. So if you're interested in being part of the Stream Team, feel free to apply there too. Again, should be a command in chat for you all. And additionally, you can find out on smiteprime.com and it will be in game later on. So get your applications going if you're interested. They all will get reviewed. You may not get contacted individually if things don't go so well. It's just a length of time and it's only me doing all these things. I'm not trying to say, look at me. I'm just saying, like, listen, if you don't get contacted, I can't reply to everyone individually. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be the case of it. But there's your application processes available. And last but not least, just as a heads up, with the merchandise stuff, you can also make merch if you get the merch license. However, Celestial Wix is doing a bit of a promotion over the Valentine's period. As you can see, candles are 20% off until January 31st. And there's some new released products available as well as some additional ones on clearance for the ones that weren't as popular. So make sure you check out celestialwix.shop. Head over there and you can find out more information. And that's also available on Smite Prime as part of the community merch section, as you can see there.
Sick.
So that's my updates regarding that. Ambassador applications, Stream Team applications, sales.
Perfect.
Done.
That sounds like everything.
Well, yeah. And now we get into
like
the QA and the questions of
Oh, no.
the
I thought we could just stop.
Yeah, just switch off stream.
Yeah, switch off Steam. Go home Friday early.
I'm okay with this. Yeah. Like, how the week go? We'll
Y'all don't need a stream, right?
No, we don't. But for the rest of the day, obviously, Obviously, Discordia just came out this week, which means we're not going to talk about a new god or balance. I mean, we'll talk about balance with questions that come up because there's going to be questions about that.
Everything's great.
However, next week, I believe we will be showcasing Chiron on Wednesday as a heads up because that's the next one due to release. How do we do it
every other week? Like, that's just terrifying.
That
means the next series that I'm working on is like 3 more shows or whatever. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and now you're getting questions of like, so can you tell us more about the skins that you do for that character or something like that? They're going to try and piece it together.
Nothing. I can't wait for the cards that the character, the cart that I bring. Freudian slip right there.
The cart.
Yeah, I was going to even say the character that comes in like riding a cart, but you know.
But yeah, thanks for joining me today. Otherwise, it would have been me flying solo.
Yeah.
Today.
Just like you made me do on Monday.
I did not make you do that.
Yeah, that was all you.
I did not make you do that.
You said clumsy, please. No, I'm joking. I said it. I said I wanted to join in and I wanted to take over the title.
Will the next 2 gods be announced Monday? I can't confirm that right now.
I don't think so.
I don't think necessarily they will, but that's up to Kilgoon when he's back in.
I mean, he might be coming back from his holiday and being like, all right, let's do it.
He might. And that's why I'm like, I don't want to say yes and no, but at the same time, see how it goes. What else? Do we have any other questions in chat? What's the best way to report someone for win trading? Well, at Driggy, you can just go in game and like report them during that, and they will get, you can send the report through game normally, and it will be investigated. But it's not often that people do win trade, however much you seem to think so. And if you report in weaken, like that's on you and your custom games. So I don't get that.
I'm busy chewing in candy, so I don't really want to talk.
Is there plans for a roadmap? I have to communicate that with Kilgoon. I believe Kilgoon's mentioned stuff of that, but I don't have any dates or times on that, so I'll let you know when I know more.
I kind of just want to get comfy.
Get comfy. Yeah. As long as, you're still in camera and stuff, people can see you. Oh, Twitch Drop update. Yeah, thank you for that. Twitch Drops, Discordia will be available. The new Rebellious skin.
Oh, yeah, you were using it yesterday, weren't you?
Well, I was cheating because I had to check it worked first of all, right before I released it to the mass. Well, clearly it's on my account, so it must have worked, clumsy. However, Discordia Twitch Drop will be available for you all starting tomorrow morning. I'm going to say morning. That'll be ET time around 11, but be available for the next 2 weeks. So if you watch X amount of hours during next week, you'll get the Discordia skin. And if you don't get a chance next week because you're on vacation or something, I don't want the complaints of I missed it. I'm giving you an additional week. So you get 2 weeks.
Oh, sweet. What?
We do that consistently. So Discordia skin will be available for you as a Twitch drop starting this weekend. Apologies for that. Had other things going on. Forgot to mention
it. Excuse me. Okay. Without spoiling anything, are you all working on old aspects? Yeah, we get this question a lot, talking about like, hey, you've got all these new aspects, you have these gods coming out that are being ported in, and they're coming out with aspects. What about the old ones? I'm going to say this, not for the final time, clearly, but the first batch of aspects that came out were really kind of just like prototype-y. They're proof of concepts. They're seeing what we can do with the system and making sure that people actually liked the idea of aspects.
Sure.
We didn't want to go all in, and then it turns out people hated them, and it just wasn't going to be a good system, or we couldn't support it. So the first ones we know, they're a little bit half-baked. We've gone in, we've reworked Gevs, we've reworked Lokis, we're pushing out new ones. We do want to go back to some of the old ones, but it'll take time.
Sure. As
with anything, if we're working on aspects, that means we're not working on God ports, that means we're not working on something else, or we have to do all these things in tandem, like balance, whatever it may be. So yes, the answer is we will probably go back and work on some of the older God aspects that came out early. Yeah. But we're not going to give you a time frame for it. We might end up doing none for an entire 2 months, then we might do like 5 in one go, which don't expect that. We might do one every 2 months, like whatever it may be. Do expect some changes, but we do want to focus our best on trying to make sure that new God ports do come out with aspects, because at least that way we keep that cadence. Yeah, and that kind of matters a little bit more for us.
That makes sense, but it's not. We're not going to ignore the ones that have already released or the ones that don't have one yet. They will get them eventually.
It's more likely to be added Loch Ness Monster Santa Claus. Probably the Loch Ness Monster. Good old Nelly. It's more like a mythological creature than a...
Yeah, I mean, also you got a Bacchus that might have a Santa skin, and then you got issues there where Santa and Santa. Although, what would Santa's abilities be? Rides the reindeer like Apollo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Apollo will.
Mm-hmm. He figures out if people are naughty or nice,
I feel like it's a support team for the most part, at least in the world of SMITE.
Yeah, and then you ban him. It's fine. Nessie, right? Yeah, I'll watch. I figured it out just now. I had to look at it in the chat, and then it was like,
Can we have another rank after deity called Clay 2? To be honest, you're all Clay soldiers to me. I don't think you need another rank after deity, to be honest. But okay, why would it be called Clay 2 as well? Don't know if this is high on the priority list, but would it ever be possible to add an animations tab when viewing gods? Being able to see an ability animations from the front, slow them down, or even pause them would be an awesome way to appreciate all the hard work the animation team puts in. I'm going to say probably, I'm not going to say it's going to be instant, but I do think we could maybe push that way in the future. I think that's part of the show.
I didn't really hear the question, not gonna lie.
It was more to do with, like, can we get more animations, like, during the, the menu select of, like, be able to see the animations of the characters during the anime, during
that's a lot of
god and
work.
stuff.
Honestly, jungle practice is one way of just going in to see those
And
things
checking out a little bit.
Doing more than that, like, again, a lot of these ideas are great ideas, but it just depends on whether we want to focus our efforts on those things. Because, like, at the end of the day, as awesome as those are, and as content could be made for them, like, improving the spectator system, there's so many different things we could do. We still have a long way to go, especially since we're in the beta phase. And we know that some of those features, while really, really cool, end up not really being utilized by many people too. So we have to be very, very careful with our resources.
Yeah. If you could add another character from any other game, including non-MOBAs, who would you add?
I mean, I worked on Merlin because of my love for Invoker, so I'll just take Dota's Invoker. We can call it a day. Just
copy-paste Invoker in is what you're saying?
I mean, that's what I was saying. It's like, would you take anyone else? Yeah.
I don't even know.
Gimme.
I don't even know. I'd have to think on that. I'm sorry. I've not got... the top of my head, there's nothing that comes to mind where I'm like, I want this in Smite right now.
Teemo, ban him.
Actually, that's not terrible.
Get out of here.
Give me a Teemo-y character that runs around placing mushrooms everywhere. That sounds pretty fun.
No, I'm good.
OG Teemo, though. I don't even know what the
that's
new
fine.
version is.
We're just going to do an aspect. We'll make it a Teemo aspect, and then we'll see how much people would actually like that.
Sorry, give it Geb.
No, we're not going to put it on Geb.
Come on.
No.
Come on. Hades collab. Yeah, I think a lot of people always reference Hades when it comes to Smite. Obviously, both mythological based, and I don't think it's something completely off the table. It's not something that's going to be happening anytime soon, but collabs are collabs, and when we get round to them, I think we want the game to continue growing. We're still in beta before we really start trying to push into potential collabs. But I love the fact the community wants that sort of thing too. Makes sense.
Record of Ragnarok does have some really good characters. Can you explain why there's a big change to carry items, strength removed and added base damage? So the idea behind changing the different items, physical items, to delineate between strength and attack damage more is because that allows us to have a lot more flexibility in the way that we can balance those characters. It also allows the players to have a lot more flexibility in what they can choose. Because say, for example, that we wanted to have an assassin or a hunter, and then you have these items that are giving you both like a lot of strength, but really what they're trying to do is give you basic attack power, basic attack damage.
Right.
We would have to balance them the exact same way. So you've got a jungler that's building one item, but a hunter that's building one item, but they're really trying to do different things with it. Strength is double dipping. That's the main difference that we want to bring out, is that by separating strength and attack damage, we can balance them separately. If you want to go attack damage, if you want your basic attacks to be hitting harder, you build into attack damage. You're not just getting free strength. That being said, of course, there are going to be some items where we are okay. It's like hybrid strength and attack damage. We're fine with you double dipping there, but it's going to be less amounts. Also, one of the side benefits of this is that by increasing attack damage and not tying it to strength, you can actually have magical characters that benefit from attack damage too now, which is pretty cool, especially when Discordia comes out with that aspect on Monday.
Did you guys see the Reddit post, Zeus Tier 5? Yeah, Galaxius, I saw it was you that posted it too. I don't have any update for you today, but it was seen. That's all I know.
Cool.
But yeah, going back to the attack damage thing, obviously this is kind of the first step into that world of now having attack damage, strength, and intelligence in a weird way. And I know you guys, I guess you're going to continue to work on those of flesh them out a little bit more if there's a little bit too much strength now in some items, because they were focused towards some attack damage, basic attacks. So there's really going to be a difference between, let's just say, a character that uses abilities such as a Neath versus auto attack Neath. You can see a difference there, right?
Absolutely.
And then you've still got the intelligence variation to go through that too.
Without a doubt.
Are there any aspects that you thought would really work well and people are not engaging in them? Interesting.
I've seen a lot of people, both love and hate Bacchus aspect. It's very, very simple, but every time I see one of my viewers pull it out in solo lane, I'm always like, oh wait, that looks like a lot of fun. I need to give it a try again.
Oh, that was Bacchus strength, right?
Yeah, Bacchus strength,
okay,
the cleaving, damaging,
the
one. That one, I mean, I'm not saying it's amazing. I saw some people swearing by Athena aspect somewhat recently as well. They're like, oh yeah, you've just got to, play jungle Athena, and the aspect's actually not that bad at all. I need to have a look at the list. We're going to be looking at, obviously, balance has to be coming out every other week too, so there's a lot of things that I want to give it a poke. Obviously, we know that Newt aspect has been performing quite strong, so we need to probably hit that one again.
Sure. Speaking of aspects as well as performing strong, I've seen a lot of Kukulkan.
Yeah.
As well, as of late. A lot of damage.
Yeah, so Cuckoo aspect has been doing generally pretty good. Surprisingly, just fine, but where I think it over exceeds is actually in like when you're building tanky cuckoo aspect. Like, while we don't mind people trying different things, especially with aspects, like if jungle cuckoo aspect doesn't end up being a thing, that's okay. But tanky cuckoo aspect is too strong for what it can provide, and that might be bringing down some base damage, increasing that scaling, because we did want to lead him to be more damage dealing and not just damage dealing, kind of like the nude aspect for building tanky.
Cool.
Like that's not the best.
How do you feel about shifting the Transcendence book into infinite scaling potential like Devos?
Says Snatty.
I know Snatty, yeah. But it's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
So my take on stacking items is, as much as they are fun, and I enjoy them too, everyone kind of likes Numby Go Up, right?
Yeah.
I play RuneScape all the time because of that exact same thing. They're not actually inherently very healthy for our game, I don't believe.
Okay.
Stacking items are really just... they're breakpoints. If the stacks get to the right number, that means this is just a great item. Like a Book of Thoth gives me X amount of intelligence. That means I'm going to buy it every single game.
Fair.
Same thing with all the other ones. And also the way that they stack are almost really just time based. Sure, that's not necessarily true. You have to be by minions, etc.
Longer game goes,
but the longer the game goes, yeah, exactly.
OG passive, right? Yeah.
I think the best stacking item we have is Prophetic Cloak, not in terms of its strength / power, like its efficacy, but in the way that it stacks.
Right.
You've got to do a gameplay loop, and it's very intentional. And sometimes you don't get both of both.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes it's not the right idea to go for it, not because it's not good enough, but because the enemy team doesn't have the right composition for it.
Sure.
Like there's choices to be made.
Yeah.
Stacking items really just end up being like, okay, if the number's good enough, you should always go. And I think that's like, and then you have the infinite part of that too. If it's infinite, then the number's almost always going to be good enough, or the items are just bad.
Like, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because obviously we're saying like we don't think they're good, but why is Devos there then?
Well, so Devos, Transcendence, Thoth, they're just the staples. They're extremely popular. So, I think we're a bit hesitant to just delete the items and say, hey, we think that these aren't healthy for the game, because people like them, and that we have to be very, very careful of that.
That's fair.
But I don't think necessarily making them infinite or emphasizing them even more is really good. They're kind of just like noob trap design items, and the less we can, emphasize that, probably the better.
Yeah.
We had ideas on shifting stacking items to be kind of a different type of gameplay loop, and we still might play around with that idea. But making them infinite just means that they're kind of just no-brainers at some point. It also forces you to kind of get them early on, because then that way you can start getting to the infinite point faster.
And I know the devs have already discussed as well regarding Rodder Tahuti and the fact that you're getting that power spike. And we know it's kind of a core needed item.
Yeah.
But with some of those stacking items, from my point of view, Book of Thoth and Transcendence both kind of lean into that Rodder Tahuti, giving you even more on top of the infinite stacking. Right. So until you can really address the Rodder Tahuti changes that eventually come, that's been discussed, then the path of mage build, it can have a knock-on effect too.
Yeah, but I want to emphasize, like, we understand that these items are popular and that they're fun, which is the only reason why they're not gone now. Like, believe me, I like seeing the numbers go up too. Like, it is satisfying, and maybe that itself is okay. Like, if all of the stacking items are actually undertuned but fun, that might be fine. But then again, that's kind of like a noob trap, right? They're just kind of traps of design, which is not the best.
Please do something about the ultimate indicators for Athena, Neith, and Kepia, etc. It's very hard to aim. It's easy to misclick and fly to the wrong part of the map, ulting right into an ally. Levato, with you like spamming that as well, send a bug report to us, show us what you're experiencing, just so we can understand exactly what's going on there. I just want to make sure, because we don't see a lot of reports of people complaining about missing their ultimate with Athena or with Neith.
Yeah, I've heard that the stickiness just isn't quite the same, like just of the UI elements. It's just, again, one of those things where, like, it's functional for now. It's not amazing. We do have it on our list to fix it up again. But if it's not an easy win, then that's a bit rough for us. But yeah, we do have a pin on that bullet point.
Can Assault Gods also include randomly toggled aspects? Would result in some more variety in it. I think for the most part, some of the devs have mentioned, I believe Pom-Pom was talking about aspects of like turning them on and turning them off for individuals. It's probably not going to be the plan for the anytime soon with Assault. It's mainly just to give people the variation of, like, you're playing Kernanos. If you get Kernanos aspect versus Kernanos normal, I think you're going to struggle a bit. And some of the other aspects as well, which we know don't get played too much, like imagine getting Sobek and being forced into Sobek aspect when you really want that pluck in an Assault.
Right.
So I get the idea of like widening the aspect, non-aspect for more variety, but I also think just giving you the option of you get the God in the aspect is a fair way of doing it. Although there's also the other side of the coin of like, well, if you get the aspect version which gives you heals, you kind of want to go that for the sustain. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna let you continue for a second. I need some caffeine. Be right back.
You're gonna go and get a coffee?
I'm literally just gonna leave. I'm just gonna grab a Daiquiri.
Fine.
I regret not bringing it earlier.
It's pretty rude.
I'm not coming back.
Pretty rude. Let me see what I can answer in chat. Can we have any reason why Hi-Rez doesn't have an internal cooldown like Poly? Edgy, I'll ask Clumzy when he gets back on that. I shouldn't have read it out loud, I guess, because I'm not going to answer that one. When does Smite 1 server stop? I have a friend on PS4 that won't upgrade until Smite 1 is gone. I'll tell you now, like, with live service games, we've said this a couple of times as well, but live service games, we will give lead time of when and if Smite 1 ever comes down. There is no plan in the immediate future, and we do have to give a lead time on that, so there'll be an announcement if that's the case. However, if you've got a friend that is just all in on Smite 1 and will never move to Smite 2 until Smite 1 is dead, then they might be there a while, is what I'll say there. Jeez, you had to do that.
Yeah.
Got a question about Hi-Rez, by the way, while you're away. I read it out and went, I can't answer that because I'm not a developer. Why is Hi-Rez not got the same internal cooldown thing as Poly?
Items allowed to be different.
Okay, but mages are upset that hunters and junglers and people that could buy Hi-Rez, they don't have the internal cooldown. What's the reason? Why are we not being fair?
Well, they're different types of items. It's like Jotuns and Spear of Deso having similar gameplay effects but at different price points and stuff like that. It's okay for items to be similar but different. Like the strength of having, Hi-Rez on everyone lets you to weave a little bit more. Poly had that at one point, but now it has that cooldown. But now the Poly proc is harder, right? There are actually two different gameplay styles. It's kind of just more interesting to be able to play around with different methodologies of playing the game rather than just forcing everything to be the same. Like we could, if we really wanted to, just say, hey, there's no strength, there's no int, everything is just like adaptive, whatever it is, right? Like, and then everyone can just buy all these items, but that doesn't make the game actually any more interesting. In fact, if anything, it's better to kind of separate the differences. Like, sure, Hi-Rez and Poly are similar, but maybe we can make them more different, but have the same kind of gameplay effects. Jotuns and Spirit of Deso is still a kind of good examples of that too. But yeah, I mean, not everything needs to be exactly the same, even if the gameplay functions are similar.
But people are always going to compare that, of like, why is their class, okay. Why do those dirty mages, why do those dirty hunters and junglers be able to get this free auto every single time with Hi-Rez, but I've got to wait on a cooldown?
Sure. Well, then why is theirs do less damage than the Polyproc does? Yeah.
You'll always get an argument back on
and
something.
Also, your melee characters doing that with Hi-Rez, not always, but you tend to be. Just not everything's going to be balanced the same and similarly. Can we get a Titan Talk where Clumzy and Hindi read us stories? We just do Monday Titan Talks, which is story time. The heck? I'm not reading that one.
Any update on the rebound bug from Hoyi? Nyamo, make sure you send it to the bug form. I don't know anything specifically about that one that you're mentioning, but just so you don't keep spamming it in chat, I'll just say that out loud. I just make sure you send it to smite2.com/bugs and make sure it's in there. And if you've done that already, then I'm sure the team is aware and taking a look. I just don't know off the top of my head.
I really want to do Smite stories now. That'd be really funny. Next time, we're just going to read Smite lore.
As a dev, can you describe what you would need to consider a reworked kit as successful in theory and practice? Reworked kit, I guess, which reworked kits have we really done? I guess...
Are you talking about like Smite 1 reworked ability kits?
I don't know. They're just kind of asking in general, I guess, of like, what do you consider as a successful rework?
I mean, Loki was our most successful rework, I believe. We've done so many different ones. Like, my gosh, was there so much pain with like Freya and Bastet and other gods who I don't want to name right now. Loki's was the best one. I mean, other ones, another one that was similar but different was actually like, Thor, Berserker's Barrage, right? That did change the way that functioned from Smite 1. And I know there's a lot of people who still like the long amount of circle spinning, but like it is technically different, and I don't think anyone ever really complains about it anymore. So I mean, the answer being what makes things like successful in theory and practice, or what's better or not, it really just comes down to one, like, is the goal for making the change correct, right? Like, are we doing it for the right reasons? Or are we doing it like change for the sake of change, which is never a good thing? And two, like, just in practice, how does everyone receive it well? Do they understand our goal? Are they in line with our goal? And are they enjoying that goal? The problem is that kind of goal changes on a case-by-case basis. I know that AJ put like a write-up on what the reasons are we would do a rework from Smite 1. And like that, he did that later on because that was kind of needed as a check for ourselves to make sure we're doing reworks for the right reason. They're not easy. We don't want to do reworks because, we just want to change a character. We usually always want to do them from goals, but it's important for us to have those goals written down and for the community to understand our expectations. So I would encourage you guys to try and look that one up because I think it's very helpful for that question.
Any plans or thoughts on Relic Dagger
Wait,
coming back? Go on, wait.
No, I got the Hindu. Can Clumsy have the power to ban people during streams? We were just talking about that like 2 hours ago.
During streams is what they're talking about.
Yeah. And now we do.
You do.
Now I do. You do too. You can do.
I can, but I don't generally do it. I'll make sure the support team takes care of it most of the time, unless it's really gross.
Yeah. I mean, me and Hindu helped. Well, we banned that one guy, and then we banned him again.
Just to be clear, Clumsy keeps saying using the word banned. There's no it's all.
No,
it takes
timed out. Yeah.
takes a long time to get a perma ban in our
Punished.
games, but suspensions, Clumsy, not bans, suspensions. Okay, clear it up because everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, we must ban." But anyway, the community doesn't think we do any of that anyway. There was a question about Relic Dagger. Do you think it'll ever come back? Question mark with all the relic systems.
So Relic Dagger, we were actually thinking about how we wanted to do that, and it was one of the ideas that we were playing around with before we created the new Relic upgrade system. Now it's like, okay, well, between relics, the like tier 3 active item relics, and Relic Dagger, like what would the function between those, and would it just be like decrease the cooldown on them, which is not super interesting. The previous version we wanted to do was actually like create different gameplays. It would be like you have Aegis, you go Relic Dagger, and then you get time locked Aegis, right? That was the idea we were going behind before. But now that we've implemented the system, we kind of have to figure out how we would want to do a type of Relic Dagger. And we've kind of pushed that to the side. Now it's like, it's not as important. Before it was there because it could solve a problem. Now it's not really solving a problem. It would just be, change for the sake of change. But that, again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially when it comes to items and characters and the way their abilities or effects might function. So it's okay. It's fine. It may not just be the most exciting. Like even Relic Dagger in SMITE 1 wasn't the most exciting. It was low popularity. And ended up being like highly variant because of that. But
I would say though, if there's going to be more active items in the game too, let's just say you've got 3 actives, right? Or 4 technically. You got 4 active items, and then you're getting a cooldown reduction of 30 seconds on every single one because you've got this one item. Then it's kind of a balance point of, well, all these 4 items are reduced by 30 seconds. Holy moly, these are really good now because they're 30 seconds off. This one item is giving all this to those items, and then the balance point becomes harder. It's kind of how I see it. Again, I'm not a dev. I'm just looking at it from playing the game myself going, man, if all my active items had a 30-second cooldown from this one item, I'm going to get it.
Have you ever thought about, instead of Q&A, just go through the SMITE Red and react?
Honestly, I have faced some, but for some gaming. I think it could be a good look to do that sometimes, but sometimes there's stuff on there that we're not able to discuss, or stuff that's on there that just doesn't make any sense. And we do actively look at the Reddit. We do actively look at Steam. We do actively look at social medias of Twitter and stuff as well.
I wouldn't be able to give my genuine reactions if I did it on stream. Like if I'm looking at Reddit, I'm going like, what is he talking about? I'm not going to be able to do that on stream.
Well, I think it's when you get into the comment section where it gets kind of weird as well.
Yeah,
and you just got to sit there and go, yeah, okay. Oops, excuse me. More surveys in the future? Yeah, probably. There's no plans for a survey anytime soon. We literally just did one, but I do expect we might do some in the future. Wouldn't surprise me.
Man, for some reason I got real tired real fast. I'm not going to lie.
What's that?
I got real tired real fast. I don't know why.
I've been like that all day. I'm just like, get through, keep going.
It's the weekend, almost there.
For you, halfway through.
Yeah, for me.
Survey on SPL. What do you want the survey on SPL to be, Edgewing? It's going to be, do you want SPL, yes or no? And everyone votes yes. I'm aware, right? But it's not going to change anything as of right now.
I mean, we're not going to talk exactly what the bug was with the perma slow and perma, movement speed increases, but it's because we were working on, and we're constantly working on the movement speed system, right? We've been talking about that for months now. We have to make incremental progress, and something that we did in that direction did work and was helpful, but caused unintended consequences.
Correct.
And we had to try and find the best way to fix those consequences while keeping the original fixes intact, because it did have a pro to it.
Yeah.
It just obviously came with a really bad con. We were still then, I think where we're at now is we pulled that stuff back to see if we can just remove that con, because the fixes we were doing for that just did not end up working out. So we pulled that back, and now we're going to just make sure we now we have a better idea, especially with how many people get into a game and can test those things basically live for us.
Sure.
It's a lot easier than us doing that contained on our side sometimes.
Sure.
So now we know how to progress on that system better. But it's we're always trying to make progress.
Yeah.
There's so many things that happened in that patch that this one just was one of the ones that didn't work out as well for now.
Yeah.
But when it comes back, it'll come back stronger.
Definitely one of those things that kind of overshadowed everything else that came with the patch that was kind of positive. And obviously we did make continued hotfixes all week, and we did see improvements, but not enough. And that's why we're like, you know what? We're not going to let everybody continue dealing with this. We'll put it back in the oven, continue.
Yeah. As for Medusa's comment of, do we want reports for stunning and permaslow? I think right now, there should be none of
There
that. There
shouldn't be anything.
Is that PC
in-game.
and console, or is that just PC?
Everything got released.
So everything got released now.
So
there shouldn't be any more stuttering and movement speed, perma slows, or anything like that.
Correct.
Yes, if there is starting like now, let us know.
Always bug report anyway, right? Like if you see a bug in your games that are live now, send them to us. If it's from earlier on in the day or yesterday, we should have corrected.
Yeah, that's the important part, because there are a lot of times where I'll see bug reports where we've already done a fix, but then they see like a clip or they see a stream from a couple of days before and they pass it along, which is super helpful.
And I love that. Yeah.
But like, let us know, like try and give us that context too, because sometimes we spin for like an hour or something. They're like, oh my God, this was like 4 days ago. We already did.
And some of it, like you'll get a clip and the clip will only have very little detail in it. And then you have to investigate the clip to find a name or to find the match ID for us to then research the match ID to go into there. And then found out it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, we've done multiple updates since then. This is an older one. It's not a relatively new one. However, we still appreciate them.
Yep, totally. Something's better than nothing always.
Are there any thoughts on the feeling of collision between yourself and minion/teammates? It feels like I'm getting stuck by a body block much more
much more often. That's definitely something that's happening more in Smite 2 than that was there in Smite 1. That is still part of the movement speed system. Like that, it's collision and stuff like that. It's another one of the things that we need to work on. That's maybe like a little bit adjacent to it, but it's much more acceptable than some of the other issues we were having. It's just one of the things that is absolutely on the list that we want to fix, down the line. That was one of the massive issues where that didn't quite work out for Smite Cart. Actually, the biggest downfall of Smite Cart was the collision to
every show. We'll always reference that.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just funny.
The collision to walls and the collision from cart to cart was the biggest downside. You'd basically just go to a halt. It was the only negative to that mode. Everything else was fantastic.
Has there been thoughts of adding a feature needed to accept matches before the lobby to reduce the amount of people that don't pick gods? I think that has come in and out of Smite 1, and I'm sure we may consider it again in Smite 2. I don't know the status of it in our minds right now, but at the same time, I don't think there's as many people dodging as you think, because if it's not the same person dodging, just to be clear, because they will get deserter buffs, which do last quite a while.
Yeah.
If you've done it once, you get in a couple of minutes. You do it twice, 30 minutes. You want to keep going? See you tomorrow. That's pretty much the scale.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually seen this exact same conversation in so many different games, like over the last few years, of just like people there used to be a lot more, hey, the match is ready, like here's the accept button.
Yeah.
But then a lot more games started moving to the philosophy of like, if you've clicked Q,
you're ready.
You're ready. You should be ready and get ready for that. That's your one timer to try and reduce the friction into getting into games. That being said, it's absolutely a double-edged sword. I can see it work either way, personally. This one, since you were talking corn chili, the newts bug that was there earlier. Oh yeah, because I actually tweeted that one out too. That was just visual. We know exactly what that is. It's like a technical thing. It's all just visual, and it's to do with the plane of existence from Aladdin. But no, those could not do damage to me.
You guys notice how tangible Hades is during the leap. Since the start of him being implemented, I've been knocked up, stunned, damaged, etc., while visibly being underground. This isn't a parody from Smite 1. Famine Horseman, if you want to send that over to smite2.com/bugs, if you can like show us the gameplay of that happening, because there is stuff to do with CC buffering that has come in and out of Smite. So I do want to say there straight away, this has definitely not been consistent for you, because when CC buffering's there or not there, that's going to affect that a little bit.
But it's also just kind of a server-client disagreement thing.
Correct.
Almost anytime we see something like that, it's like the old like, oh, I've done like a Hu Yi leap or whatever it is, and I got pulled down from the ground or whatever it may be, or I tried to Freya ulti, which has CC immunity. Why did it not go off even though my animation went off? That's almost always like the server and your client hasn't really fully synced up together, and the CC that has happened to you actually happened before your ulti went off, even though your client, which is completely on your machine, has kind of said that like, hey, my ability went off, so let me start showing it to you. And then the server goes like, nah, it didn't actually. You messed up, son.
What are your thoughts on giving gods that shield, making their shield scale with health items? What are your thoughts on giving gods that shield, making their shield scale with health items?
It's doubling up on the similar fact. We have to be very, very careful with things like that, because okay, well, going shield is good, and then going health is good, and now I'm just getting double the benefit just for doing what I kind of already wanted to do, which is being tanky. That being said, we've seen similar effects before, and anti-shield is in the game too, so it's like, it's okay, but there's probably a better way of going around it.
Aside from splitting the player base or making matchmaking harder, would you be able to elaborate on why we still can't have 5Q4 ranked? I think it'll be healthy for people like me who want to be with their friends in the game for a competitive play. I think at that point you should be looking at playing some competitive esports side of joining a league or looking for other teams that are looking to scrim rather than playing rank 5 stacks in a weird way. I'm not saying rank 5 stacks are completely off the table in the future, but at the same time I do think it's kind of a different window there.
I mean, anytime that we introduce party size increases to ranked, it makes the matchmaking visibly worse for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it'd have to be a separate queue, first of all, for just the 5 stacks in a weird way.
Right, exactly. It'd be like, it would be pretty much that bad for matchmaking.
Can you imagine getting into your games as a solo queue player and get a 5 stack against you every rank game? I don't think anyone would like that.
Even then, it's like, casual games, if you're going up against a 5-man, like it's still going to take you a long time, and we don't put you 5-mans into 5-mans all the time. So it would be really, really rough. Like,
there's also the issue of like when you're in a 5 stack of, let's just say 5 ranked players together, you're not all the same skill level.
Exactly.
One of you will be decent, the other 3 will probably be clay, and there's one that's just started the game, and you're going to queue up, and the matchmaking system would match you against people of all those different skill levels to try and match it up as a game, which just won't feel good for a lot of people in that game.
Yeah, some of my most imbalanced rank games are usually when there's like a 3 stack, and there's one person who's quite high, and then there's one person who's quite low.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, how did you expect this to really be that balance, and how do you expect us to even matchmake that?
I mean, a lot of the reports we get sometimes like, how does the queue happen, and they've been queued with someone who's lower than them quite considerably, at certain points. So always taking a look at that stuff. Have you considered multiplayer jungle practice? Yeah, I think we actually discussed that last episode of Titan Talk with
Rocky.
Yeah. Yep. It's not something off the table. It's something that they may look at in the future, and it would be a nice idea. Just when we get around to doing it, realistically, is kind of the call there. Who would you say the poster child of SMITE is?
Bellona and Zeus.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, Bellona for sure. Yeah.
Bellona, Zeus, and Thor. I know there was a lot of discussion at one point. It's like, oh, why isn't Zeus and Thor and some of the other like Poseidon stuff used more in the art? Like, why is it Bellona? It's because like there's a lot of Zeus and there's a lot of like typical gods, like those archetypal ones that you hear of all the time.
Sure.
You can kind of see that in so many different ways from other like IPs and stuff. But like Bellona is probably the biggest one. It's like, okay, we put Bellona everywhere because really no one else really uses Bellona in any media as much as we do in SMITE.
I feel going way back in the
like
past. This is going back to the old SMITE 1 days, right? The CGI we did with the video of like Bellona fights and stuff, because she was like protagonist main character in that, I think that's where it began to stem from. Because before Bellona release, it was more Zeus, it was more Thor.
But that's part of the reason why we push Bellona is because there are 1,000 Zeuses and 1,000 games with Zeuses, but there's not that many games with Bellonas.
Very true. Will Sanguine Lash ever been removed from the game? Because if the nerfs don't go through, I believe I've seen that a couple of times in chat, and it's generally from high level players that are just wording things weirdly, because you guys know who are asking this question that those items will get nerfed, they will get buffed, you will complain about it, but they're not going to get deleted from the game. Maybe in a year's time, maybe in 6 months' time, we may do overhauls, but at the same time, it may just get nerfed more if it needs more nerfs.
Yeah, Lash already got heavy reworks from compared to what it used to be before. Is it potentially still too strong? We can debate that, but we're not going to... One of the things that we wanted to do for Lash was make sure that the active effect was stronger than the stats, and it wasn't just a stat stick with an effect. Is it too strong still? Maybe, but we'll have a look at that and we'll assess. And then I know as soon as we nerf that a little bit more, then the soul laners will be like, okay, now what do I build? That was the only thing propping up the soul lane.
Which is always going to be a knock-on effect, right?
Yeah. If it's a problem, why do you even let people at that far rating queue together for ranked? Well, honestly, that's true. But it's the same, to me, that is a synonymous question of why do we even allow 3-party queues? And it's because as soon as we pull back the constraints a little bit more, we just have everyone yelling at us. Like, we had a duo queue at one point, and then we had everyone going, but I liked my trio queue. Where's my trio queue? I'm not playing this game anymore. Downvote, 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 right? It's like, okay, well, if we had our ways, duo queue would probably be the highest queue chance, and we would constrain the party sizes even more.
And everyone's got an opinion on it too. Personally, I believe after a certain level, you are solo queue only at that point. That's my personal take of you get to a certain level, solo queue only. That just is what it is. You want to play ranked at that highest level? That's the case.
But the amount of and not putting any blame. Content creators as well, high level ranked players. They want to, you've got a support who wants to play with their carry player, and they're at a high level, and they want to just queue together and practice because it's ranked. It's like, okay, well, that's not that easy.
Is there a way for us to look up how many worshippers people have? I believe so. I don't have any of that to hand right now, though, unfortunately. For the ambassador program, I wasn't able to hear you clearly. If you aren't chosen, you will still receive an email. No, you won't. So on the ambassador program, just to be clear, the ambassador program is a way for the community to, have an interaction point with the developers. Yeah. So you'll apply to be an ambassador and you'll get a bit more behind the scenes of seeing some of the stuff that's been talked about behind the scenes, give us a chance for you to report some of the issues you are seeing in games on behalf of the community and interact with the devs a little bit more. I'm not bringing everybody in there because I'm not going to lie. I'd say about 50% of Twitch chat right now is probably not nice enough in their current games, let alone to speak to the devs and not interact rudely, first of all. And then second of all, like, we can't just have everybody in there because we might as well just make a Reddit thread and go, okay, you're all designers now, and we're all going to do this. So we'll go through the ambassador list and look at everybody, but I do not personally have the time to reach out to every single one and go, unfortunately, you weren't accepted, because then you're going to go, but why? And I'm not going to have time to go through every individual person and go, because your account was suspended for 3 days before for telling someone something rude, because you also left games and AFK'd in these games, because when you talk about us publicly, you say nice things to our face and then behind our back say, this is terrible. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to go through all that. So that's just kind of the way it'll be.
No,
did I get all that? Did I miss anything?
No, 100%. I was just doubling down on the whole, like, I've definitely seen people, like, say really nice things when they come to my chat, and then I lurk in a lot of different streams.
We all do. We just don't do anything. Yeah.
And then I see that same exact person, like, be incredibly rude in someone else's chat. I'm like, okay, well, this person,
and again,
I just don't want them to come to my stream.
And I'm not trying to say everyone is negative, but there is definitely people that are sunny side up, super nice. But if you actually look at their account, they actually, are a little bit toxic. And I'm like, well, no, you're not going to get rewarded. What is the desired win rate? Oh, what is the desired win rate of the team with Naga Buff? Jesus, Muff.
Did you say desired win rate?
Yeah, desired win rate. Is there a desired win rate?
I mean, that's like saying what's the desired win rate of someone who gets fired.
First Gold Fury, second Gold Fury.
Yeah, there's so many different factors that I don't think you can say, like, this is the only thing that can decide something. It would be curious to see if there's a high discrepancy between teams that win the Naga Buff. I don't think we've run that query yet, but I know that we wanted to. Like, it's on the list. Like, there's so many things that we could look at. Like, first tower that goes down, first blood, right? First Phoenix, first whatever it may be. But those are all good data points to have, to be honest.
Will Stream Team be changing this shit? Yeah, as you can see, there's a link in chat right now. We talked about it earlier, but Stream Team, we will be onboarding some new members for the Stream Team too. So if you'd like to be a streamer, then, be a streamer for the SMITE Stream Team, then do your application and maybe I'll be in touch. Would it be possible to transfer the SMITE 1 content like skins, frames, etc. to SMITE 2? Yes, Samoxy, just check out some of the other past Titan talks, but this has been discussed that some content will come over. We just don't have a time frame on all of it coming over or whether all of it will come over, especially certain aspects of it.
Clumzy, what's your favorite Kumbhakarna skin? I don't know why you're asking me that, but there's only one that I remember well, so that one has to be it. Well, there's two, actually. There's the pajama one, and then there's the Kumbhakarna Yeti.
You know what I was upset about Kumbha? He never got that golf skin that was pitched. I thought he had like a golf bag on his back, and then he used a golf club, and then golfed you up with his ultimate, which was kind of cool.
I actually don't remember that.
I understood other ones got voted for over the top of that, but that was a bit of a throwback. Do you guys ever go into someone's stream that has low viewers? Yep, all the time. And if you don't know that, check with the streamers, because I kind of lurk everyone and poke my head in at certain times.
Parity issue with God's Second Invis and Dodgy's teleport. Yeah, there's a couple of different parity changes with stealth. I need to double check how many of those like we are cool with or not. I think there was like Fenrir 3 as well. You can continue like leaping onto a invis target, but like brutalized onto an invis target. And all of those, from my recollection, are actually like things that we wanted. Like that, those were no, not in parity because due to reasons, but. I don't disagree that they're confusing. So,
with what you spoke about with stacking items, would this be helped by making things need more stacks or reward you for having the items longer? Not just that, but things like Leviathan's Hide, threshold points of stacks that will grant bonuses, such as book.
Yeah, I mean, if things are gradual, like I'm just going to make things up. Like
sure.
20 stacks of something or give you no reward, then the next 20 stacks give you some sort of reward, and the next 20 stacks like you're now at like those are okay, but for me it's really more so how you're getting those stacks that I think are interesting. Like again, I think Prophetic Cloak has the best version of that. If it's just kills and assists, if it's just time based, I think personally those are not really interesting. They're always going to be stat issues, they're going to be stat breakdowns, but as long as the gameplay reasoning is there for them, I think it's okay. Are there any plans to add knights to other game modes? Yes, we need to play around with that system a bit more. It's just when I say play around with is like even the new items that came out and the items like, reprint stuff who have nighttime passes, we would be good to kind of go back and address those a little bit more. Like, I don't think I've seen a singular Eye of Erebus in any of our games, whatever it may be. But it's just the trade-off of all the other things that we need to do. That's definitely on the list. Like, we shouldn't just abandon that system. Conquest got the Moonlight phase, and that's really, really cool. Adding to the other game modes is just a whole bunch of work, and we do have a lot of cool plans for the other game modes in different ways. And there's a lot of things we need to do still, like, even the Curios and Joust, we know there's a little bit too much warding and stuff like that, but excuse me. But yes, it's just a large arc of work, and we have a lot to do.
What's your thoughts on placement games for the start of ranked? I think we don't really have placement games at the moment because you all just start at technically 0 at clay and then work your way up as time goes on. So you should be getting matched around those levels of the zeros all the way through. In the past, we've definitely had systems in SMITE 1 where we did do placement matches, but also it's very similar to what we've done in terms of like how progression ends up going.
Yeah, I mean, in the background, whenever you're like, if there's a hard reset or just in general, generally there's something called like a weighting, or I think Palm was telling me it's called like Sigma, and it's basically your variance, and it's in the background. It's saying like, hey, how confident are we in the fact that you deserve to be here, or the fact that we know you're ranking at all? And at least I'm going to talk from a hard resets perspective. Is that at that case the variance is extremely high. It's going to like, no, we don't know where you are, and we're going to try and push you and pull you further so that we know we can try and get that gauge. So in a way, your first set of games where your variance is higher is kind of like a placement anyways. So that's already there. But also we kind of like the idea that everyone's starting from like a fresh. We're not putting you in the middle ground. We're not, I think before, back in the day, everyone would start like gold 1 or whatever it may be. But now there's a little bit more of a progression loop. But in a way, placement matches are kind of there. It's just not actually shown in the forefront.
I don't have the data in front of me, but someone asked, what is the most popular curio in Rank Conquest? I will just say it's probably, in terms of the curios, it's probably just the basic one that you start, because a lot of people won't change off of it for the most part, but I do think the others do have really good windows.
Yeah, the only other one that I see is Galar Flare. I do see the Bifrost one as well a little bit, but I think Galar Flare, I mean, I just notice it a lot more. I think the other ones exist, but you just don't see it as much, because Galar Flare you just see like across the map.
Exactly, you see it because you visually see it, and a ward gets confused with the other wards that are in the game already, so you don't always show that curio is getting placed. But I think most people end up sticking with
probably
the basic
like 8 or 9 times out of 10.
I will say the higher ranks you go, you'll see more supports pick up the Galar Flare and the junglers and stuff, just to give themselves vision before checking a brush or something like that, or checking an area because they know they're at the fire giant. Could the other curios have a buff? It would be nice if they had lower cooldown if you destroy wards.
Yeah, we can have a look at that and just see how each one's performing. We're not like...
Man, I'll be rich if you do that.
Yeah, I know, right? So that's
I'll just
part
run
of the
down the map and go 50 gold, 50 gold, 50
really
gold.
Good. It's one of the reasons why Talisman of... not Talisman of Purification. The... what's the wording one that I just had it?
I don't know its name.
Doesn't give you... What's called in SMITE 2, but... that one was actually like statistically really good, because people were actually making a lot of gold from it over the course of time, but no one wanted to get it anyways because warding is boring.
I was getting Eye of Providence all the time.
I got people have the free curio from the start of the game, and I still see people with single digit wards.
100%. Will there be any new items coming soon?
There's always plans. I'm not going to spoil exactly when and where, but we have a lot of cool things that are planned.
I think it's just a soon, because obviously whenever someone says, will there ever be new items coming? Yes, right? But soon?
I mean, like even the attack item and strength item changes recently. Like effectively those, in a way, that's a small, item shift. We can't just keep adding and adding and adding. Like if anything, I've already talked about how I'd love to reduce certain things, but or replace even, but. How do you feel about bushes overall in SMITE? I think even I was pretty hesitant at first, but I think they've definitely been a value add. Actually, back when we first started, which never went live, there was probably like double the density and sizes of the bushes as well, and it was way too much.
Not gonna lie, imagine the jungle situation, chat, and like imagine the brushes you see around the jungle. Imagine that was like doubled up in certain areas. There was way more brush, and it was like, this is too much. I will say that I don't think they're being utilized as much as they can still to this day.
Oh yeah,
and I do think it's going to be one of those things as the game continues to grow and people continue to. Obviously, the metas always develop. I think you'll see more and more brush use. I think in the dual lane, for example, and the solo lane, they're not getting utilized as much, even in mid.
Right.
I just don't think people use them as much as they can. You get to see glimpses of it, but I don't think they're abused as much as possible to really like push them to the forefront. I don't think they're terrible though.
No, I think they're definitely positive now.
At first,
and I think with the addition of Curios, now that you can be like, you know what, I don't feel safe with
I
that
got a
one.
brush
I'm
ward.
just going to put a quick ward there. And that makes it actually way more fun and interesting.
But there's also a counter play because you can anti-ward that as well.
Yeah,
so you can know there's no vision, and then you're like, yeah, I know we're trapping him in here. So placing a sentry in that brush going, they've got nothing.
Yeah.
Cool.
But like,
who buys sentries, huh?
No one.
Sentries?
But yes, is there one in 50 or 60 games where, you know, it's 30 plus minutes in and then like 4 people are in a bush and it's turbo gank this one guy and like that ends the game? Is that a bit anticlimactic? Sure, but theoretically you could do that like on the other side of walls. Like I've seen that before and it wasn't just due to bushes.
Definitely.
And also like then don't be by yourself and don't be near those things.
And buy vision.
And buy vision.
Another thing. Do you guys change the shells in the background? I could swear that I have seen the porcelain apple before today. No, we've not changed these in a minute. And by we, me. I think I just did these a while ago and I've just not really changed anything. The apple. Yeah. It might just be the camera view being different as to why you can see the apple. I've not added it or anything like that.
Now, you know what? I will add or remove something at some point if I remember, and people will have to figure out.
I thought about putting little clues in the background at times.
Oh, I'm not going to do clues.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I was like that.
We did that in the early days of SMITE once upon a time where we just like leave little clues on the people.
I'll change something somewhere or I'll add something. But it might not be anytime soon.
Have you ever thought about making an item that gets weaker the less or more towers you have? Huh. I like that. It's interesting. The less or more towers you have. So more towers up, it's really strong, and then as you lose a tower, you're like, damn, my power spike went down.
Yeah, I mean...
But then you get to a point of selling it, right? There's always going to be a cost.
Okay.
I should say you got an item. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
clumzyD adds a giant smite cart. No, I'd keep that for my own room. Which one's that even referring to? Is this a VOD? There you go. There's your response to it. This is not a VOD.
All right. How do you decide? This is for you, Clums, because you're the one that does this. How do you decide what gods, items, and map changes are good for the game and which aren't? I'm not being rude. That's a question. It's, it's one of those questions that we get.
Like, how do we answer?
How do you decide that?
That's just like that question might as well say like, why do you have ideas? Almost, it's like, the design team, the developers, we're always trying to create ideas that are net positive, right?
Sure.
And yeah, I guess that's just such an open-ended question. It's like, how do you come up with ideas? Well, it takes a goal. The goal is still the most important part of like, okay, are you creating this idea, this item, this god, this game, this mode, this whatever it may be, for change for the sake of change, which is acceptable.
Sure.
Sometimes you just want to, mess things up, or you're trying to solve like a pain point in Assault or a pain point in Conquest. Okay.
Well, let's pull it back in a little bit. Let's go Disco, right? Because you just worked through Disco recently. When it was coming to Disco design, what went through the process of like, the +1s is a good example.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Of like where, how do you start from that? So your idea is like, we need to do +1s to make Disco feel a little bit better. Where are the pain points?
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to God ports and the +1s, it's a really tough time, honestly, especially from God to God basis. There are times where you ideate behind a god and you go like, okay, this is so easy. Disco's passive is kind of boring and could use a little bit of love. So like, let's put a pin on that. That's there. But OP, exactly, which is why we nerfed it too on the way here. Let's put a pin on that. Okay, Disco's 1. What can we do there? What are the pain points? Yeah. Oh, the fact that it kind of stops in walls is kind of not so fun. So if it's not so fun, why was that the case? What is the problem that SMITE 1 was trying to solve? Exactly. Yeah. And can we even fix that? Okay, if we can fix that, how can we fix that in a way that this becomes kind of like a gameplay ad? Okay, cool. Now move to the second ability and then third ability. Basically, you want to work from a problem-solving aspect first, and then with that, when you have an answer, kind of come to, okay, how can we solve that with fun and new interactions, right? That's really what it comes down to. And then how do you know if those are good ideas? Well, that, the developers have been doing this for a very long time now, and we are players of the game too. But it takes some spitballing. It takes me and the other designers and other people in the playtest conversing back and forth about the ideas before they're even created. It takes us talking to the ambassadors as well. They're playtesting things. for the record, as like every time we're creating plus ones and aspects, we have a channel in the ambassador Slack where we go forwards and we talk to them about it. So on the new character that I'm working on, I just put down the plus ones and aspects. We had good back and forth on whether people think things are unhealthy or healthy. And as soon as you get that gauge,
Sure.
then you've got to like, okay, I came up with the idea. I think it's good. I talked to the developers about it. They think it's good. I talked to some players about it. They think it's good. All right, reinforcement. We're good.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Are there going to be more changes to the Conquest map? More than likely, when? Who knows? But we will always be making changes to the Conquest map. There's always going to be changes happening to the game. And I think that kind of answers somebody else's question who's frustrated that we do change for the sake of change. But in a MOBA that's a live service game as well, you do want change because you don't want stagnation, because everyone will get bored with stagnation. In terms of those sort of games, you're talking about a single-player game that doesn't get any updates is kind of how I would review that. So,
yeah, if you want a Smite cart teaser for the game mode that's probably never coming out, but I can hope in my dreams, if we were to do a Smite cart
Smite Planes, we discussed it on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't there for it, so it
Okay.
didn't exist.
Okay.
But like Diddy Kong Racing style Smite Planes would be cool, or if like the carts had like weight classes to them, so you had like light, medium, and heavy. Yeah.
And then there'd be arguments of why are they in the heavyweight class when they're a medium or a low?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a bonus
That's
point
the
as well.
teaser that for a game that won't exist, and I cry. Can we get a birthday shout out for Jithens? Always. Happy birthday, Jithens.
Have we ever thought about making a potion that you could throw like barons with that would make Scardy Ice? Let me tell you, Scardy Ice is definitely always a conversational point of people going, no, I hate that.
Back when Max was still working, he pitched us an idea, visible role SR, not affecting overall matchmaking SR. So I think I've heard a little bit about that, but it's less about the SR and more about the MMR, I think, because you want the leaderboard to be the same. Like, you want to be on the same ranking system as everyone. But the idea would be like, okay, if I have 3 top roles and I'm playing my least role, or not even 3 roles, I'm playing a role that's not even on there and I'm not playing a role that I like, should I be match made in Obsidian when I play support like a Clay, right? Like, it's kind of that idea. And it's something that we've debated about in the past, and we're not against doing, but frankly, we've come a long way even this year, and Pawn's going crazy with all these sweet looking stats and queries, as he's shown on the thing before, on Titan Talks before, about how, ranked is going, how matchmaking as a whole. We've got a lot to learn, and there's still so much to do to get that foundation, honestly, steadier and like more just, ready right now than it is before we throw even more curveballs into the system. But I personally think something that would be pretty cool, but I also don't know all the downsides of that either. But I think something like that would be pretty interesting.
Brush past the potion question a bit too quick. I mean, realistically, I don't think there's ever. No, it's more than me.
The Scotty Ice one?
Can we have more potions that we can throw that would give Scotty Ice? I think the idea of like thrown potions or thrown abilities might be something to consider, but I don't know about Scotty Ice specifically.
Yeah, if it's a consumable one in the store, I don't think I personally would be stoked about them having CC added to them, because then you're literally just adding 10x people can now have CC in the game. That's a bit terrifying.
But debuffs and buffs, because I guess that's
there's definitely something more there, or just them being more exciting. I think that's fine. Or their price points could be different, or we've talked about crazy ideas like it can only be unlocked if you've killed Fire Giant and stuff like that, right? Like there's a lot of fun ideas we have.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have to be very careful of just adding CC to everyone.
Have you considered bringing recipes back?
Yeah, I want food in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember that.
Yeah, I said it, and then Pon said no, and I was like, I don't think he even thought about it. He just saw how excited it was, and not
we
that
can't wear shoes, but we can make food. That's
I want food.
That would have been the argument.
I want my bow buns back.
A stealth potion I can throw at my teammates.
Would you ever add per god specific keybinds to the settings? I mean, those exist for your abilities, but if you're talking about for more than your abilities, I'm not sure. And we did fix the aspect issue too, so I'm pretty sure that's working now. So for like Osiris and Kabrakan. How hard it would be to change the layout of the jungle, no asset changes? I mean, I'm not sure I fully understand that, because if you change the layout, it requires asset changes. You can't just like make a lane, like a jungle lane, bigger without moving the rocks, right? Which then affects the ground, which then affects the textures. I think we are kind of working towards finding more ways to do that more modularly, but it's not easy, and I don't think you can just change the layout without changing assets.
Often new players accidentally pick a god with aspect, not realizing how much it changes their playstyle. Are there any plans to the playstyle change a little bit more apparent, like a warning box in the god select or anything? I will say there's always going to be improvements towards the new player experience and trying to make sure those things are aware to people. But already at the beginning of the game, if you're a new player, you can't even play the aspect yet. We actually lock that preventatively just to make you aware of like this is an additional step in that direction. But I do think there's always going to be ability to do additional work there to make it better. Have you ever thought about paying gold to open a gate to a side jungle lane? Like a tax man that's just going to go, open this door. You give them 500 gold and then all of a sudden the door opens.
Can't wait to force my support to open that door for me.
Yeah, great. And they got no gold anyway. Yeah. That's exactly how that would go too. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
The carry's like, listen, I need my 3k pot at the moment. Can you spend the 500 gold that you were going to spend towards your 4th item in the game on opening this door for me so I can try and get a kill, even though the Phoenix and the tower's still up?
Yep. Have you thanked Rocky today? Yeah, I think I did, because he came in like immediately and I actually pulled him to my table and was like, I need help. And then he did. He helped me with the thing.
Well, it is 2 o'clock, which means it's time
for one more question.
And as people look for as Clumsy looks for his one more question, just a quick recap. The SMITE Ambassador application forms are now live and will be available until February 1st. Same for the Stream Team applications, February 1st. Check those out. Discordia Aspect will be released on Monday, not today as originally planned, and the Discordia Rebellious Twitch drop will be available starting tomorrow. That's all, just a recap of everything that's gone on there as well. Clumsy, we found a question yet?
I mean, there's an interesting one that it's kind of open-ended, but have you ever thought about making a double-edged item that hurts you but hurts your team, the enemy team, more? I mean, there's so many different ways to do kissed curse items. We've experimented with that a lot. In Smite 1, we had the masks that were slightly cursed. In Smite 2, we had like Necronomicon, had a little bit of that. Even Rod of Asclepius has a very heavy mana cost to it too. It's really tough because every time we do that, it's a balance problem of if it's good enough, we're gonna get it no matter what. If it's bad enough, or if it hurts enough, we're never gonna touch it at all. I think they're just the most highly variant items to create. Not saying that that's a bad thing or that we can't do them, but like even with Necronomicon, right? Like we effectively got rid of the downside or one of the downsides. Right now there's still another downside, sure, if you die, but it's like the lamest one. Like it doesn't hurt nearly as bad as it did. Vortex thingy item, doesn't that is that the one that drains your health, or does that one drain your mana? I don't remember. Right, we had to weaken things so much that people just basically don't feel the downsides for people to actually pick them up. And that's what it comes down to. Is like, yes, we can do them, but if they're good, the best players will use them really well. And if they're just okay, no one uses them because no one really likes playing with downsides. Although I think the design space there is interesting.
Trying to find a question because I've just seen a lot of people going, thanks, have a good weekend and stuff. So I appreciate that. Can we turn off Clumsy for the weekend? He seems bugged. Yeah, I'll turn him off.
I'm so exhausted.
I'll turn him off at like 6:30 p.m. today.
Okay.
For a little bit.
Done.
I was going to say, you go, I'm done.
I've answered my question. I'm technically done.
I mean, to be honest, my problem with questions is sometimes it's a question for you more than me, but I get to ask it. Would you consider giving active items their own resource meter instead of just draining your mana?
Active items currently don't drain your mana except for one of them. So the
example is yes in a weird way. That's fair.
Of just like right now there is no downside except for cooldown. So unless you're saying like replace the cooldown with an active, but then that would be OP. Yep. But I mean, yeah, then how do you show that on the resource meter, which you need another bar? Like it's okay. I think there's something interesting there, but yeah. Like it almost seems a little bit of like, again, change for the sake of change, which is not a bad thing, but you need to have really good reasons and it'd have to be a fun like gameplay loop.
Okay, I see one more. Hindu, is that voting for the ambassadors or is it a Hi-Rez choice of applicants? Being real with you, I'm not going to do a popularity contest for the ambassador because honestly, some of the ambassadors that are already in there are already the most probably popular people in the scene already, and they already have had access or still have access to the ambassador program. Additionally, on top of that, I really am just trying to find a good plethora of like variation in terms of our player base. So I'm looking for Xbox kids. I'm looking for PS5 console kids, right? Because you guys give me better feedback on some of the stuff that you guys see specifically. I also care about Assault, Arena, Joust, and Conquest, right? A mixture of all different areas so the devs really get a good piece of what's going on. Additionally, I want people that have been around a long time and played Smite 1. I also want people that are brand new to Smite 2 and have never played Smite 1 before. The more we can get a bit of a mixture is always going to be good for the game as a whole is my goal, okay? Yep. I don't have favorites, but I will say I'll check your accounts, and if you're scum, you ain't coming in. And if I find out you are scum, you won't be here very long. It's kind of the case on that. But this is kind of where we're at now.
SMITE does a great job of helping me push against the solo laner bias. That's always nice.
The goal of the ambassador program, though, for you all is really just to give the devs like insight of what it's like to be a different type of player in Smite 2 and making sure we're trying to cover as many options as possible. And it's not going to be perfect. Let me be honest. Maybe I can only find 2 or 3 PlayStation people that are really a good fit to work with us behind the scenes a little bit more and get some more information. And maybe I get 50 of them. Who knows, right? I would have to limit it down then, because otherwise everyone's like, oh, you care about his PlayStation kids. And that's not always the case. We care about everyone. And all walks as well. So that's what it looks like. Imagine if you applied and you banned someone after looking at the
that's possible.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm expecting at least one suspension off going, oh, really?
Yeah, if someone applies and we look in and see that they're actually a massive, not fun person, I could see that.
But also, don't try to be schemy, because I'm better than you all at the schemy stuff, okay? Not trying to be smart, but like, don't send your friends one in because you know they're toxic, because I'll find out it was you. Trust me, I'll find ways. Anyway, with that, that's the end of Titans Up today. Thank you so much for all joining us. Enjoy the game over this weekend. Enjoy the Discordia drop on Twitch that's available. Yeah. Enjoy Discordia on Monday as well, because I won't be around with the new aspect dropping, and tell clumzy just how good or bad it is next week.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Any final thoughts?
No, that's it. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.
And with that, enjoy yourselves. If we don't see you before, we'll see you on the battleground. Goodbye.